Thousands of years ago, in the middle of a vast desert, a civilization emerged that built pyramids reaching toward the sky. This was the Egyptian civilization. Made from millions of stones, these pyramids still amaze scientists today. Because without iron, without wheels, and without machines, how did these people manage to lift and place such massive stones? And if they were capable of such incredible construction, what was their daily life like? What did they eat? What did they drink? And why do some of their traditions still seem mysterious today? Recently, when scientists sent robots into hidden tunnels inside the pyramids, what they discovered shocked the entire world. So, to understand the frightening practices of the Egyptian civilization, watch till the end. Around 8,000 years ago, humans learned how to sow seeds. In some parts of the world, people began living in small settlements. But in a large region of our planet, nature was playing a terrifying game. The vast area of North Africa, which we now know as the Sahara Desert, the driest and deadliest desert in the world, was not always like this. Scientists call that period the African Humid Period. From around 11,000 BCE to 5,000 BCE, for nearly 6,000 years, the Sahara was a completely different world. There were endless green savannas, large lakes, and many tribes of nomadic hunters who lived in harmony with nature. We have evidence of this from a place called Nabta Playa. Today, it is a dry desert in southern Egypt, but around 7,000 BCE, there was a lake there, and humans built a large stone circle near it that tracked the movement of the sun. It is considered the world's oldest stone calendar, showing that the people of the Sahara were quite advanced. But then, the winds changed direction. According to scientists, around 5500 BCE, there was a slight shift in Earth's axis, just a few degrees. Yet that small change permanently altered Africa's monsoon patterns. Slowly, the lush green world began to dry out. Ancient lakes turned into mud and disappeared. Trees were replaced by burning sands. The nomadic tribes had no choice left. From the western deserts and eastern barren lands, driven by thirst and fear, these tribes began moving in one direction. Carrying their children and the few animals they had left, they walked for miles across the scorching desert in search of just a sip of water. Many perished in this deadly migration, but those who survived finally saw a miracle on the horizon. Something that would change the course of human history forever. In the middle of the burning desert, stretching from north to south, flowed a vast, blue and calm river, the Nile. When the exhausted hunters touched its cool water, they felt their journey had ended. They thought they had only found drinking water. They had no idea that along the banks of this river, their future generations would build massive pyramids that would leave humanity in awe even thousands of years later. But one big question still remained. How did these nomadic hunters, who once relied only on hunting and had no advanced technology or wealth, transform into a civilization capable of building sky-touching pyramids? And when the Nile flooded every year, how did they control this powerful water and begin farming? The thirst of these nomadic people was quenched. They thought they would now simply hunt and live peacefully along the river. But they didn't realize that this was no ordinary river. Every year, during a specific season, the calm Nile would turn into a terrifying force. Its waters would rise and flood miles of land along its banks. At first, these hunters believed it was a curse of nature. They would run to higher ground to save their lives. But when the floodwaters receded after a few weeks, they didn't leave destruction behind. They left a miracle. A thick, black, wet layer of soil spread across the land. This soil, carried from the Ethiopian highlands, was one of the most fertile in the world. The tribes noticed something extraordinary. When wild grains like wheat and barley fell onto the soil, fresh, golden plants would grow within days. For the first time, a thought struck the human mind. What if we intentionally planted these seeds in this soil? Would we never go hungry again? And with that idea, humans sowed their first seeds of wheat and barley along the Nile. But there was a problem. After the floodwaters receded, the soil would quickly dry and harden like stone. If it dried completely, the crops would die. This is where early humans used their intelligence and became the world's first engineers. They realized that sowing seeds was not enough. They needed to control the water. Using stone and wooden tools, they dug small canals from the Nile to their fields. They built mud walls around their farms so that when floods came, water would fill these channels and remain in the fields even after the flood receded. For the first time in history, humans controlled nature's water. This change transformed human life forever. Farming required staying in one place to care for crops. The nomadic lifestyle ended. Permanent settlements made of reeds and mud began to form along the Nile. Hunters became farmers. They also started domesticating animals like cows, sheep, and goats. Within a few years, this irrigation system showed its true power. There was so much grain that it exceeded their needs. For the first time, humans produced surplus food. They stored it in underground pits and large mud granaries. This surplus became humanity's first form of wealth. And when there is food security, population grows rapidly. Small tribes turned into large villages and towns. These growing settlements laid the foundation of the great Egyptian civilization. But where there is wealth, there is also greed. As villages grew into cities, people began competing for fertile land, grain storage, and control over the Nile's water. This raised a crucial question. Who would control these cities, fields, and thousands of people? This is how rulers were born along the Nile. As cities expanded, powerful leaders emerged, those who could protect their people from enemies. People handed over their grain and freedom to these leaders in exchange for protection. Initially, the Nile Valley was divided into two regions, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north. Then, around 5,000 years ago, a powerful ruler named Narmer unified these two lands, creating the first unified Egyptian empire. To manage such a vast population, rulers introduced a unique system of law known as ma'at, representing order and justice. They convinced people that without balance and law, the world itself would fall into chaos. It was a brilliant psychological strategy. Taxes were introduced. Farmers had to give a portion of their crops to the king. But how do you keep records of thousands of tons of grain? To solve this, Egyptian scholars invented something revolutionary, a writing system using symbols of animals, birds, and humans, hieroglyphics. Egypt became one of the richest and most powerful civilizations, not because of its weapons, but because of the Nile. Egyptians built advanced boats using papyrus and wood. The Nile became a major trade route. They exported wheat, linen, and papyrus, and imported valuable cedar wood from Lebanon, copper from Sinai, and gold from Nubia. this trade brought immense wealth. But there was a deeper belief that shaped their civilization, their view of death and the afterlife. Pharaohs, the rulers of Egypt, considered themselves gods on earth, but they knew they could not escape death. If people saw that their king died like a common man, their authority would collapse. So they created a powerful belief. When an ordinary person dies, they perish forever. But when a pharaoh dies, he does not truly die. He ascends to the heavens to join the sun god Ra. However, for this journey, the pharaoh's body must remain perfectly preserved. If the body decayed, his soul would not reach the afterlife, and chaos would fall upon Egypt. This belief ensured absolute loyalty. People worked tirelessly for the king, believing they were protecting the balance of the world. To preserve the body, Egyptians developed the process of mummification, which allowed bodies to remain intact for thousands of years. But preserving the body was not enough. It needed a secure and eternal resting place. This led to the idea of pyramids. Initially, kings were buried in underground tombs, covered with rectangular structures called mastabas, but these were easily destroyed by time and looters, so Egyptians turned to stone construction. A brilliant architect named Imhotep designed the first pyramid by stacking mastabas, creating the step pyramid. It was humanity's first artificial mountain.
Later, Pharaoh Sneferu attempted to build a smooth-sided pyramid, but due to a miscalculation, the structure bent midway. This became known as the bent pyramid. Learning from this failure, engineers improved their methods and built the red pyramid, the first successful true pyramid.
Finally, Pharaoh Khufu envisioned the greatest pyramid of all, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Without iron tools, wheels, or modern machines, how did Egyptian engineers construct one of the greatest wonders in human history? As soon as Khufu took the throne, he decided that his pyramid would surpass all others in size. For such a massive structure, a strong foundation was essential. Wrapped in meters of linen, the king's body was sealed layer by layer. The pharaoh had become a mummy. Placed inside golden coffins, one within another, the burial chamber was filled with gold, precious stones, chariots, and weapons. Wealth so vast that even today, its value cannot be estimated. The pharaoh believed all of it would serve him in the afterlife. But the kings made one massive mistake. Those same mountain-sized pyramids became giant signboards for looters. The moment a pharaoh's power weakened, thieves broke through the entrances, tore apart the mummies, and looted thousands of kilograms of gold. Almost every pyramid, including the Great Pyramid, was brutally looted in ancient times. Horrified by this destruction, later pharaohs permanently stopped building pyramids and began burying their kings in secret tombs. Yet, even those hidden tombs kept getting looted, all except one. The tomb of Tutankhamun remained untouched for 3,000 years. Then, in 1922, British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered a hidden staircase buried beneath the sand in the Valley of the Kings. When he made a small hole in the sealed doorway and peered inside with candlelight, the people behind him asked, "Can you see anything?" Carter replied with trembling words, "Yes, wonderful things." But Tutankhamun's treasure was hidden in a valley. So what was inside the massive Great Pyramid of Giza? Was this giant structure of 2.3 million stones really built just to hide a body? Or was there a deeper mystery? And when scientists recently sent robots into narrow tunnels where no human could enter, what they found made this mystery even darker. And this is where we pause, because what comes next is even darker. Chapter 8, The Secrets Hidden Inside the Great Pyramid, continues in Part 2. The link is waiting for you at the top of the description. Don't miss it.